No Edit podcast coming. We are here. We back at it again, once again. Got a little bit of things to put out. Let y'all get on about y'all day, man. We got to go to school today. I got school today. I get word that we're gonna jump right into it. Let's just get right into it. Mike Tyson on HotBoxin with Mike challenges the most popular fighter in the sport to fight a Charlo. And so I was asked, what do I think about a potential bout and what Mike was saying, some of the stuff he was saying. If you don't watch HotBoxin with Mike, you need to. HotBoxin with Mike is great. And HotBoxin, like I said, I think I said this in the previous post, all face-offs should be on HotBoxin with Mike. You know how Max Kellerman used to do the face-offs with HBO? All face-offs should be on HotBoxin with Mike. All face-offs. Okay. What do I think of the bout? What do I think should happen? Right now, I'm gonna shock a lot of people. Some people are probably gonna be mad at me, but you'll get over it. Right now, if Charlo and Canelo were to fight, well, let me go back. Let me rewind something. There was a report that the best pound for pound fighter in the sport, Terrence Crawford, said that Canelo does not want to fight no black fighters. He's scared to fight black fighters. Okay. This is what was shot to me. I disagree. He's fought black fighters before. I don't think he's any less apt to do it now, because it's more than black fighters that he's avoiding right now. So this is not like Bud is wrong necessarily. I think that within a given context he is somewhat right. But I just don't think it's restricted to black fighters. He's not fighting top level talent right now. He's not fighting top level talent right now. And that includes Hispanic fighters. That includes black fighters. That includes any top level fighter, regardless of their ethnicity. Because we're all one race. Don't be sheep and say, well, what race are you? We're all part of the same race. Our ethnic groups vary, but we're all part of the same race. It's only one human race. That's it. So stop being sheep. He's just not fighting top level talent right now. Regardless of the ethnicity. So I only think the only reason I think that it even made a buzz anywhere. I mean, after I was hip to it was because there's an ethnic component, which I'm gonna get into in a different blog. I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into that one in a different blog. But so let me cap that first, and then I'll give my opinion on the HotBoxin Mike situation. So when we have, the top fighter in the sport being Terrence Allen Bud Crawford. I don't know if his middle name Allen, I'm just saying that. And he takes a direct, makes a direct comment because it's not a shot. People are too sensitive these days. I'm not a hater because I don't like what you like. I'm not a hater because I don't see things how you see them. I can have my own opinion. I don't have to be anti-you to be pro-me. Write a book, put that in my book. So it's rare because we were spoiled with Floyd. that's generally was, I mean, for 20 years or so, was the top fighter and the most popular fighter were one and the same. Now it's not. So for one to make a statement at the other is unique. I like it. Because I think it resonates more when the top fighter in the sport say, "Yo, what's up?" But I don't necessarily agree that it's specifically black fighters he's avoiding. Competition is what he's avoiding. I mean, everybody knows my a great affection for David Benavidez, who I think deserved that fight. I mean, who I think should get that fight. Somebody in a DM, so I'm gonna do a twofer because I'm gonna answer a DM question and still be on this topic. Somebody said, well, what does Charlo or what did David Benavidez do to deserve a Canelo fight? Or what does Bubu Andre do to deserve a Canelo fight? What did Abner Yildirim do to deserve a Canelo fight? Or Rocky Fielding? Or Liam Smith? Or what did they do to deserve a Canelo fight? If you have to deserve a Canelo fight, what you do? Because you're going to be the A side 10 out of 10 times. What did they do? So I escape the delusional. I very rarely have boxing conversations with delusional people, delusional boxing fans, because when you're delusional to that degree, it's not just boxing. There's a whole nother set of stuff for a geopolitical post, a geopolitical tirade that I might do on a different post. But so it ain't about deserving and not deserving. It's not. I often say this: I wish boxing was like the video game, where 20 fought 19, and then the winner fought 18, and then the winner fight 17, and so on and so forth until you get to the champion. I like that. But in the real world, it's not a video game. So, so let me fast forward. Now that I didn't get a Terrence Crawford statement update. What do I think of the fight? And what do I think what the outcome would be? I'd love to do a breakdown of this, because then that means the fight is about to take place. So this is all opinion based. This is not no research put into this or anything like that. I don't think at this point Charlo was good enough to beat Canelo. I don't know if Canelo believes that, but I made a statement, I want to say about a good year, maybe a year ago. At the gym, we were talking about this, me and some coaches, and I was like, if Canelo is smart, he'll fight. I don't know about Andre, but I fight Charlo now. Fight him now, because I think you can beat him now. But as they improve, the margin of error goes away. It may have already. This is just me off the head without necessarily peeling into it. I think if he's going to fight a Charlo, I think now will be the time to do it. What I wouldn't do is wait 2 years, 1 year, 2 years. They both get better every time I see them. And the one who lost proved he's a true champion. Being a great fighter with championships and being a true champion is not the same. You know what I'm saying? We just had this conversation last night. Being a great fighter with championships and being a true champion, not the same. One of those Charlos that lost to Tony Harris and then came back, won the belt back in dramatic fashion, in beautiful fashion. David Benavidez, even when he loses his title on the scale because he's undefeated, he got that belt back. True champion can lose, go through some adversity or whatever. Don't necessarily be losing, but go through some adversity, come back, and get it back and run it back. And that's the test of it. That's the medal of a true champion. A true champion and a great champion are not the same. True champion and a great champion are not the same. Floyd Mayweather is probably the greatest champion I've seen. I've seen true champions. I don't necessarily call Floyd a true champion because he always wins. So I don't, by my standard of true champion, I have no losses to measure against Floyd. I know he got bad hands and bad back and the burden of carrying the sport and changing that. And so that I may relent on that position to call him a true champion, but a lot of my definition of true champion is like you lost it, you won it. I mean, you won it, you lost it, you got it back, and you lost it, you got, like the Roberto Durans and the Danny Garcias, like those dudes are, you know what I'm saying? Like Floyd, no different, but and then some other undefeated guys, Joe Calzaghe, stuff like that. So, but I think if Canelo's gonna do it, now's the time. I wouldn't wait no longer than he's waiting. But like I said in a previous post, the window against these Charlos, the window for beating them, the longer you wait, the worse it looks, the worse it gets. Your margin of error gets just slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. And so if you're gonna do it, stop, man. After Billy Joe Saunders, go back to work, because you took some years off. Even Canelo, fighting nobody, fighting either. I'm not gonna nitpick his opponents, but guys that stand no chance of winning, that aren't in the running. Let me say it like that. I don't want to nitpick, because you can nitpick anybody's. You can nitpick, except probably Oscar De La Hoya's. You can nitpick anybody's resume, right? You can nitpick opponent. Nit. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, these dudes are clearly not on your level, and he kind of admits that by talking about Billy Joe Saunders before, if that's even a dude's name. I may have got his name wrong. Before your Durham fight, which nobody really paid attention to, nobody really cares about. There's nothing. I haven't even heard anything about other than something running on TV like once. It's nothing. You can't hoop and holler about a dude being. Roy Jones Jr., the great Roy Jones Jr. said something interesting one time, and whether I agree with what he said or not, it is incredibly valid. And he said something on a podcast that I was listening to a while back. He said that, we don't know if he's talking about Canelo. We don't know if he's better or not, because he hasn't, just because he's displaying a different skill. He's displaying a different skill against people he don't necessarily got to display that skill against. When he actually fights competition, somebody that stands at least an equal chance of winning, if he's still doing that stuff, then we'll know if he's better or not. And they were talking about his defense and slipping and all that stuff, all that slick stuff. That get vilified, but that's the stuff that keep you at the top and keep you healthy and keep you winning. So he said, well, I ain't seen him do it against somebody, that's competitive, so I don't know if he can do that or not. And it's something, when I was talking to another coach about this, shout out to Doc Mott, he said, yeah, we talked about it a little bit, and he said, yeah, you got to think of, look at Roy's point in that I used to play basketball once upon a time. He said, yeah, if your 20-year-old self go out there and play in a 7th grade, a junior high basketball league, doing stuff you ain't never done against people on your level before, doesn't mean that you got it. You just, you can pull it off against them. What happens when you got to play dudes that can do what you do? Then we'll see if you can actually do that stuff or not. I do think that Canelo has improved. Again, I agree with the context. I don't necessarily agree with whether Canelo's improved or not. I think that he has. I'm eager for him to show it, because I'm just not seeing it. Kovalev and your Durhams and Liam Smiths and Rocky Fieldings, and that's just not. But you got to practice the stuff on somebody, so maybe that's what it was. But I'm interested to see him prove that he really is, really has improved it. For those of us who's been in the ring and who's done this stuff like on one level or another. So I want to see him do it. I want him to go out and fight these fights. We're not going. If you are real deal, which I believe he is, then if you lose, who cares? Nobody's favorite fighter, unless you just a certain fighter diehard guy. My favorite fighter ain't undefeated. The fighters that they hail as the best fighters ever, none of them are undefeated. except for this one guy or one or two guys. But outside of that, you know what I'm saying? My favorite fighter's not undefeated. We consider Mike Tyson to be great. He ain't undefeated. We consider George Foreman to be great. He ain't undefeated. Willie Pep ain't undefeated. Aaron Pryor ain't undefeated. Alexis Aguayo ain't undefeated. Danny Garcia is not undefeated. Uh, 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 um, 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 Sean Porter is not undefeated. These are all great fighters. Mikael Brook is not undefeated. Amir Khan's not undefeated. I mean, I'm going on and on and on and on, naming great fighters that are not undefeated. So we don't care if you lose. If they love you, they love you. If you think people are gonna turn their back on you, because it happens in boxing. Second, they love you and your entourage is 50 plus when you winning, and then it's 4 when you losing. That happened in boxing. But if you worried about that, then you need a new team, because they supposed to rock with you no matter what. So we're not gonna think less of him if he takes a loss. At least I'm not. But you're a senior in high school and you whooping on junior high dudes right now. You're whooping on C minus, B, maybe B plus fighters, and you're an A fighter. So we're not entertained. We're not intrigued. So let's get out there and let's prove them wrong. Take on a Charlo, take on a Benavidez, and take on these guys that pose some kind of threat. And we love to see how you do one way or another. This is entertainment. We're not entertained. Unless you Maximus and you telling us you don't Maximus, Decimus, Meridius, you do not entertain. You come to do the job and you go home. So that's where I stand on that. If they fought tomorrow, I would favor Canelo tomorrow. In 6 months, in a year, I probably won't feel that way, because there's Charlo and David Benavidez is ready now. Yeah, I think he win that fight now, but that's in my personal opinion. Charlo, he may be able to beat. He may be. I'm not gonna say yay or nay on that, because I don't know. I don't want to be irresponsible with what I say, but I will say this: if he can win, the longer he waits, the narrower the window for either one of them, because David is still super young. The older at this point in David's career, the older David get, the more dangerous. Because he's still a. I'm an old man, so I can say this. He's still a baby. In his early 20s, he's still a baby. He cracking, but he didn't crack like no grown man yet, because he ain't grown yet. Imagine when he turned 20, when he gets his physical prime. He's not even in his physical prime. You understand what I'm saying? He's not even in his physical prime. He's not even in his physical prime. So once he gets to his physical prime, oh my God, we're talking about crazy. Having said that, no edit.